Welcome to the live stream. I hope you had a fantastic weekend and week before that, because it has been 2 weeks since the last live stream, so I hope you're doing excellent. Today we are starting to talk about Tengus in a bit. So we wait for a couple of more people to join as always, and then I go into today's story. For now we have Aminox here. He says Koko de Sabishi da yo. He's lonely in here. ACN Network is here. Hello, ACN Network. And Crazy Boy is also here. Thank you for your participation. And now, let me know where you're from. What's your name? If you maybe not what's your name, but say hi so that I know you're here. Because if you don't, then I essentially just see like 5 people are here, but I don't know who actually is in the chat. The thumbnail, what means the thumbnail? Asks Crazy Boy. The thumbnail means exactly that, Tengu hunting in the Japanese mountains. So this is actually a picture I took today, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Before that, there is a new video on the channel. If you haven't seen it yet, it's pinned at the chat at the top. Finally, this video took me way too long to make. Not necessarily because it was super hard to do, but just because it took some time. And I need to do that besides everything else, which is family and work and all that stuff. So I don't necessarily have the energy or time available after all that to work on a video. And that's why, unfortunately, it took longer than I had hoped. Still, now it's out. We also have on Patreon, we have the first interview from that video. It's full length, about 10 minutes, I think. And we have a behind the scenes with about 8 minutes or so, because actually a lot of things went wrong. Still, I'm very happy with the outcome, and I hope the people of Narai also are. And if you like the video, then please share it with your friends and everybody you know and so on. Because right now the performance is not so great, but I hope you agree that it deserves maybe a couple more views. And if you do, then please share it. John is here. Hey John, good to have you here. Sorry, we started a little late today. I hope it's fine for you in Australia. And Crazy Boy says, congratulations to 20k. Thank you. It's been a while ago, actually, so the channel is not growing as fast right now, but still, thanks a lot. Oh, John says, lots of rain and flooding in Narai this week. Oh, I actually don't know. It makes sense, though. Would make sense. So the river is pretty close. The old town, the bit that I covered, is a little higher from the river, but who was it? The last person I introduced, Kobayashi-san, who is a little bit away from the traditional samurai house street. She's closer to the river, so I hope she's fine. Here also the rivers got really high. So usually it's like pretty pleasant to look at and so on. And there's some, like, do you say that, sandbanks, like small islands of sand and stones in between. But then all of a sudden not. And you just see a couple of trees sticking out and trying not to drown. And now it's down again. But there are trees like lying around and so on. But I think it didn't flood, at least in Nagano City, thankfully. But Narai, I see. Also, maybe if you have seen the video, so Michael, who guided me that day, wants me to come back and cover more and so on. And he already sent me, like, they just opened a new luxurious ryokan or hotel there, and it would be a great thing to cover. Personally, I would like to, rather than covering that, because I already covered the ryokan, I would like to cover some craftsmanship, maybe, I don't know whatever is built there, like Kiso is famous for lacquerware, so like comps and so on. So maybe going to somebody who does that and from start to finish or so. That would be interesting, I think. At least for me, I would like to watch that. All right, then the story in that video wasn't as clear as in the other videos. I wonder if you feel the message was clearly conveyed. Yeah, it was a little hard, I must say. I agree with you on that part. So yeah, but well, I think I'm learning and I hope I can improve. Crazy Boy asked if I saw the Olympics ceremony. No, I didn't. Okay, not sure if we will be more people in the evening or if we stay in this very intimate group here. So let's talk about today's topic, Tengus. So I've never seen, as you have seen, so this pic, the thumbnail, the big kind of older but very powerful Tengu that you see there, was taken today. So we went on a mountain here and there it is. And so in case you don't know, Tengu are usually mystical creatures in Japan. Mystical? I think you say that. In Japan, which have typically long noses and what do you call that? Not flies. Wings. Wings is the word. So wings. And yeah, they're not evil. So they're not like Oni or something, but they are kind of protecting spirits or so. And there's a mountain here that is part of Nagano City called Izuna. And there is an area, there's a lake and also a Tengu, the one you see in the thumbnail. That's where we went today. So went to the Tengu. Apparently it changed when my wife went there as a kid. There was a slide behind the Tengu, so you could climb up at the Tengus, maybe up to the shoulders or so, and then slide down. But now, unfortunately, it's gone. Still, there are other fun things to do. So we went on the lake in like a, what do you call it? Bike-style boat thing, tread boat. I don't know, you know. And there's like, you know, that like bobsleigh, but on concrete. Doesn't sound fun, but you know, it's safe, mostly safe. So you get up there and then you slide down. Another fun thing, and picnic and all that stuff you do with your family. So very enjoyable day today, and yeah, was nice. So much for the Tengus. We are even considering going there again tomorrow, but I'm not sure. Maybe because I promised my kids also to make I don't know how you call that in English. In English, sunaba. Does anybody know? Sunaba. That's where you put the sand. Wait a second. A sand pit. That's the word. A sand pit. I promised to build that. So maybe I have to do some DIY tomorrow. Get to the home store and build something. That's gonna be fun, hopefully. Or super boring for my kids. All right. Search new player in Free Fire. No, that. I mean, maybe after the stream I will, but right now I would like, I rather focus on the conversation. So Running Bears here, first time watching your live stream, loves my videos. Thank you so much, appreciate it a lot. And first time live stream, first time message, and first time donation all in one. That's fantastic, thanks a lot. Was there an animation? I didn't realize it. By the way, am I in focus? Maybe not right, not perfectly. It would be here maybe. Let's try this again. Today I'm using a bit of a tighter lens as usual. That means the room looks a little bit smaller, but I hope you still like it. Eminox says, living is growing. It was not a bad video, just did not feel as well constructed as your previous videos, but feel free to play with the format. You may find a new and better format for your content. Sandbox. That's probably another good word. Sandbox. Yeah, that makes more sense than a pit, because it actually will be a box. So, yeah, certainly. I think one of the issues I had with this video was that I interviewed so many people. So essentially 5, and then kind of with that comes the commitment, and I actually placed them somewhere, if it's just for a minute or so. And then making this into a structure that is like a story essentially, and follows, and that like in a kind of, you know, speedy and more or less fast paced, and then within 15 to 20 minutes. That's like a challenge, certainly. So essentially how I did it is, you know, I introduced, as you've seen in the video, and then from where they left, I tried to find something else to put there. Like when the second person, Nagai-san, talked about fire in the end, then I went over to talking about fire, from there to preservation and so on. So I tried to have like, at least to make sense in how it proceeds. But certainly, yeah, this kind of, what I was missing, I felt, was setting out a challenge in the beginning and then trying to achieve that. Some hardships, some ups and downs maybe, and in the end, hopefully have a positive outcome. So make it, and like, give you something to look forward to, anticipation in the beginning, and then in the end, give you a nice payoff. That would have been nice. But didn't perfectly work out in this one. Xitich is here. I am fine, thank you, and I hope you're having a wonderful day as well. Look your room, please see. But what should I look at? What should I look at? Crazy boy. Tell me. Sorry, I almost mistake your name. I say crazy boy. It's Crazy boy, right? Crazy boy. So in other news, we may have a sponsor for the channel for a couple of videos coming up maybe soon. Not really sure yet if I accept or not. Maybe good to get in this kind of direction and make it more financially feasible. But of course, I only want to recommend content that I feel like is actually worth somebody's money. Not content, things, products. And I also would like to include it in a video in a way that doesn't break the flow. So I don't want to like... And now a message from our sponsor. Have you ever thought about lighting your face while in a video conference? Buy this light or something like that. So it should flow like something. But rather than that, I would be like, go outside into a cave and it's dark and I switch on the light and it's bright and it's fantastic and I look great and then I say, by the way, if you have this issue as well, buy this light. You know, kind of more included in the story, make it flow smoothly and not like, first of all, to lure you in a little bit. Do you say lure? Do you lure you in? To not skip the part, and also, of course, to make it not a separate thing from the actual story. So much for that. And yeah, besides that, as always, you drive the conversation with me. So if you have anything to say, let me... Oh, Crazy Boy needs to go. All right. See you. Bye-bye. If you have anything you would like to share, please do so. Feel invited. And should I talk about? Yeah, it's been a nice day today. That's all I can say. But we haven't seen each other actually for 2 weeks, right? So when it comes to the channel, most of the work I did was translating videos for Patreon, because we will have the full interviews there. And sometimes translation is not so easy, I feel at least. Especially if some of the interviewees don't talk as clearly as I would love them to. Look a little bit like Alan Walker. Who's that? I don't know where it is, but easy to find out. Alan Walker. Okay, I see. Music artist. But I don't have this kind of beard. There's only one picture I see from him, and he has a beard. And yeah, so another consideration I did add. I was still talking about the videos. So yeah, most of the work was for translations. So this week we'll have another one on Patreon, another full interview. It's longer, 19 minutes this time. So it's a lot of work to do. And also I started working on the next video, which is about like the place that made me love Japan. So I hope you will also enjoy the video and look forward to that. Fire Breather asks, what do you do? Could you could you clarify what you mean by that? Professionally, like as work, or what else? So I was considering what is my hobby. Yeah, this is one of my hobbies, or maybe two hobbies, but that's already plenty, I feel. This is my hobby, and Aikido is my hobby. So martial art, Budo. Yeah, that's it. The latter I would like to do more, but with COVID, it's a little bit. I need to be a little bit more careful right now. Maybe if the case is a little bit more down in Japan, so right now it's like more than 20,000 a day, which is a record every day essentially, and therefore I'm a little bit more careful. I did, however, put like 6 mats in the other room. We had an empty room, and now I use that to train on my own, alone, which is better than nothing and also fun. But generally, that's a contact thing. You need a partner or more, and eventually, hopefully, I can do that again. Also, I teach this Aikido, or used to until COVID started. This was in a public school, not a public school, a private school. And essentially, they don't allow anybody that is not teaching at this school or going to that school to come in. So only the employed teachers and students, not the parents, not external teachers like me. So that's unfortunate, but that's how it is. And the other one, YouTube live streams right now and going outside and so on, every now and then, and done in that, work and family. Aminox says, the place that makes me love Japan inside any public transport. Yeah, that's valid. But this one will be another one. Although I'm also thinking about going into this direction and going to one of the, I mentioned it before, going to one of the small trains here, explore the countryside by train, like a really small, like 2 cars train, and then, very slowly, very joyfully, hopefully. John says, I read 98% of Japanese adoptions are young adult men. Businesses adopt their executives so that companies can be family run. Have you encountered this? Has anyone offered you to adopt you? No, nobody has offered this. I know this from martial arts as well. So if you have a lineage, and it's in the family usually, and they have this kind of successions, then, but you don't have a son or somebody, or is not interested, or not a daughter maybe, then you just adopt your most senior student. And that's it. I know one guy who's from Germany, who's now the soke of a Koryu. He's relatively young, and he was adopted into an old samurai family. From business side, I don't know anybody whom this happened to. But yeah, certainly happens. Yeah. What would be very interesting to me is how this works visa-wise and so on. Because essentially they become Japanese, right? Right? Don't they? I don't know. So this would be another way to very easy. I don't know if it's easy to kind of. Is it easy? This would be another way to become Japanese, or to get into Japan, if you don't have a university degree or so. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's who knows what's required for that. I actually recently thought about this. I'm wondering why. Probably I thought about martial arts or so. And then this came up, or this guy came up, then I thought about adoptions. Yeah, but yeah, no, I haven't. Oh wait, no. Maybe it's not connected to Japanese citizenship. Is it? Could it be? Because in Germany, I think if you get adopted, you don't turn into German automatically. Certainly you don't. I don't know. Now I remember something. Speaking of visa, yesterday, finally, I applied for my permanent residency and was accepted. So now I have to wait for like 4 to 6 months, and then hopefully I get the return postcard which says please pay 8,000 yen, $80, and pick up your residence card, and that's it. And then hopefully I never have to go anywhere to apply for visa again. And yeah, and I must say, so previously, usually I say more or less, in Japan service is outstanding wherever you go, but the worst place I've ever been service-wise consistently was the immigration office in Nagano. Terrible, terrible. But yesterday, so I've been there twice, I think, for my first visa, 2016, for my second, 2017. Was both time terrible, took forever, always something was missing, they said this and that and come again and so on. Yesterday, totally, the one we had, totally acceptable. The other counter, the next one, there are only 2, perfect. So very nice, actually, accepted everything and so on. Also spoke politely and so on, not just to us, but also the other people there, the other foreigners. Yeah, so that changed, certainly for the better, thankfully. So, great change. Just Crazy's here, welcome. He's moving to Japan. I say he, I don't know if you're he, but they are moving to Japan next year and are so hyped. Excellent, all the best. I'm moving to work as a software engineer, so what visa is best? That will be, what's that, specialty, I forgot the exact name, but the work visa, essentially, your employer will take care of that for the biggest part. So you don't have to do a lot. I think the outcome in the end will be certificate of eligibility, with which you then go to your embassy or consulate and then get the visa, something like that. Aminox, correct me if I'm wrong. So I've never been on a work visa, so I don't exactly know. So Aminox says, suggestion for video topic, honne versus tatemae. It's a unique part of Japanese culture and might save a few misunderstandings when Japanese colleagues or bosses change personality when socializing drinking. Yeah, that's a good point. So for those of you who don't know, honne and tatemae is like, tatemae is what you usually see. So when you have a good service or so, then everybody's smiling maybe and saying polite words. But that's just, that's a mask essentially. That's the front of the building. But you don't see inside. And then the honne, the real sound or so, what's inside, that will come out when you maybe have a closer connection or so. Or, as Aminox suggests here, when you go drinking. That could be interesting. Another one I thought of today is, which I was actually asked to do in 2017 already, and started but couldn't finish, is essentially roughly how to address people. So whom should you call san and when, for example, right? So the interesting thing here is you may call your boss, I don't know, Tanaka-san, or also somebody in your team, I don't know, Tambo-san, and because you're on the same level or higher, so you're just polite in your team. But when you talk to another entity that is not maybe even your department, but certainly not your company, then you don't say that. Then you say just Tambo or Tanaka, and things like that. So that's very interesting. And also when the sun can go away, like when you get closer or so, or when it never goes away. for certain titles like Sensei or so. That would be interesting. Maybe not so easy to cover, probably only like on a elementary level or so, but that would be another good one. But yeah, certainly Honnet Tatemai. I think I swiftly covered it. Did I? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't cover that. What did I cover? Anyway, I talked about I forgot. Anyway, I did a video which was culture shock in Japan or something like that. I like that one. I think that I went a little bit in that direction, but then not talking about Honnen Tatema, more about like service and like that, but and like Ichigo Ichie, like there's only one chance to make a good impression and all that. Okay, a little bit off topic. Being in Japan as long as you have, what would you say your favorite restaurant is? Your favorite restaurant? Also, congrats on that permanent residence. It must be a huge relief. So first, the last part, just applied for it. Haven't got it yet. So I just assume it will work out fine, because usually it's not as hard for people that are married to Japanese citizens. And also I've been here too long for that. So you only have to be in Japan for 1 year and be married to a Japanese citizen for 3 years. And to the same Japanese citizen. And then you can apply. And I'm already here for 5 years, and we have been also married for 5 years, 5.5 almost. So it should be no issue. And then you have to provide taxes and so on, and that's also no problem, of course. So yeah, that should work out, I think. It's just a lot of documents to get, and that's annoying. Thankfully, my wife helped me with that one as well, because usually either I need to take a day off or something to get all that, which I did eventually, but still it then wasn't enough. And yeah, I also had to get some documents from the company, which I then got when I went to Tokyo to get vaccination and all that. So that's the second part. Now, my favorite restaurant in Japan. I think it's Savoy, probably. Savoy Azabujuban in Azabujuban. Like Roppongi, you can walk there from Roppongi. And that's a pizza place. How Japanese. But it's great. It's great. I mean, certainly it has something Japanese, I think, which is this. There's the shokunin, the chef, the artist, so to say, in the center of the restaurant, and the big oven, stone oven with the wooden like fire inside, and then the pizza goes in 50 seconds it's done. And yeah, and they make the pizza there in front of you, and there's the counter which has 10 seats, and then there's one table with up to 4 seats, uncomfortably. 3 is better, so about maximum 14 people, and that's it. And on the menu you have exactly 2 types of pizza: marinara, margarita. That's also it, and it's fantastic. It's great. They have some hidden menus. You can ask for Bianca or something, but usually I take a marinara and a margarita. Or usually I take a margarita and then I share marinara if I'm coming with a friend. And if it's in the evening, so there's a lunch menu, which is pretty good deal, like 1,000 yen, which is $10 for the pizza, salad, drink. And in the evening it's a little bit more expensive, and they also have like the full menu. The full menu is always open, but then I usually get something from the full menu, like caprese and antipasti and so on. And then it's getting a little bit out of hand when it comes to price, but I don't do this a lot, like twice a year right now, because I never go to Tokyo anymore. But this is my favorite place, I think, when it comes to restaurant. Now, for something more Japanese, I'm not sure. I had a very good experience in Kobe, eating Kobe beef. There was a place, but I went there only once in 2017. And the place was, well, as you would expect, a Kobe beef restaurant. And it's a teppan, which is like a big grill kind of thing. not grill as in fire, but like a hot plate or so, very big one. And again, there's a counter around that. There are also a couple of tables, but usually like, the counter is where you want to be. And then you see the chef prepare the beef in front of you and so on. And what's great about that place is there are 3 people. The chef, maybe in his 50s, early 50s or so. Then the waitress, back then at least, maybe 20s. And the chef's mom, back then she was 90. I hope she's still alive. And chef would do, beef and so on, and mom would do the garlic rice. So she comes there and then does the rice. Very Genki, very energetic. And this was 2017, so there were still plenty of foreigners in Japan, plenty of tourists, and they were very, happy, but positive about me speaking Japanese to them. And also turned out the chef had done Aikido as well, up to Shodan. That's Shodan. That's the first degree of the black belt, so the lowest grade, so to say, the beginner's step. Then he had to stop because of, I think, knee issues or so. But yeah, then it was, and also the waitress, she also did Aikido. And then we had something to connect and so on. It was very fun. And then he started like, okay, let's have one on me and so and things like that. That was also a great experience. But of course it may vary. Maybe you have. There's actually a video about it. If you search for Kobe beef on my channel, then you find it. Okay, Aminok says, congratulations on your new status. Again, not yet. Just Crazy says he's moving in September 2022. So when is an appropriate time to start applying for jobs and working on my visa? I see. So you haven't landed a job. I would try it now. I mean, and essentially you can come here. Maybe it's a little early, but I mean, you can try and see, probably most companies, or you can see who's actually accepting somebody, because you may know you cannot come to Japan right now if you're not already living here. So many companies don't accept non-Japanese residents, non-residents of Japan. But you can see if you find somebody and then talk to them and see. Yeah. Aminok says, Shacho-sama. Yes, Shacho-sama. That's a perfect, you can address anybody like that. Have you had any wasabi pizza? No, I haven't. I think. No, not yet. I can imagine it's not bad, but also it's not great. Yeah, this makes me. So in Germany, you have something like a frozen pizza, which has it's like chocolate pizza, so the pizza dough and then chocolate on top. And here, what my wife likes to buy sometimes is chips, so crisps for the British people, like covered in chocolate. I don't eat that, or I ate it once or so. And it's like, yeah, and it kind of works, but nah, and it's also too expensive. But that exists, and I had that, but not wasabi pizza. Kind of like a digression here. Aminok says, I can't remember the name, but I had amazing soup curry in northern Hokkaido prepared by an 83-year-old chef. Definitely an amazing winter food. Oh, nice. I think I never had soup curry, but also coincidentally, today I talked about it to my wife. She used to have it in Omiya. That's in Saitama Prefecture. And likes it. And then my son also wants to get it. Dylan says, COVID permitting, I'm going to try that pizza place. Yeah, please go there. Gives me a reason to explore Roppongi. My last few trips, I tended to avoid it. I have to watch your Kobe video after this. The pizza place also is quickly featured in a video called A Week in My Life in Japan, which was released early 2019. And this video was mostly shot on my phone, like through the week, because I didn't want to bring the heavy camera. Yeah, I feel it suffered a bit from that, but still kind of okay. And Yeah, go there. Sure. Roppongi has so much. So usually, because I worked in Roppongi, so I like it. I mean, it depends on which side of the. I would say it depends on which side of the crossing you are. This the side I was not on, where there's a lot of clubs and so on, and then when it gets too dark, then the people try to the bounce. You know, when there's a club and the bouncer tries to get you into the club and not out, then don't go in. That's kind of the rule of thumb for Roppongi. And yeah, so that direction maybe not so great. I can imagine that many of those clubs had to close now. Maybe if they rely so much on foreigners and tourists, but I'm not sure. And still, there's a lot of great places to eat around Roppongi. So this one, Azabujuban already, that's not so super close. Maybe, what's that, 10 minutes from the crossing or so by foot? But still, that's fine. But many great places. Many great places. There's my favorite Skemen shop is there. My favorite Tonkatsu shop is there. Then Solid Steak also. And yeah, you can have plenty of good stuff. And there are a lot of smaller restaurants and so on. Not chains are also kind of some there, but not so many because it's kind of expensive probably. But still. You can even get like lunch set Wagyu for like $20 or so. All right. So how long have you been working in Japan? Since I moved here, 5 years. Essentially working for a Japanese company since January 1st, 2018. So 3 years and almost 8 months. What is the weirdest Japanese twist on Western food you have eaten? Like McDonald's mayo and chocolate French fries or such. I had chocolate, mayo and chocolate. I had the chocolate French fries, but not from McDonald's, but around that time it was featured at Kappa Sushi or somewhere, some running kaiten sushi, conveyor belt sushi thing. I mean, personally, I feel the pizza that you get here at like the standard pizza chains, like Pizza Hut or Domino's and so on, are all terrible. And it's way too expensive. So that's one thing. Then as a German, of course, like the sausages here and the bread also, like I feel it's very hard for me to find bread in Japan that's just bread. Usually they always need to put something on top or inside or so, like cheese on top or curry inside or something. And just like, you know, bread, ideally not white bread. That's already like, you're out. You can't get that in a normal place. In a big place like Tokyo, yes, if you go, you can find like German bakeries and so on, but here in Nagano, no way. And then of course sausages, like Bratwurst, you know, the classic German thing. Usually that's just plain. At least I've never found anything else in Germany. Sometimes you do like some like this, where you put there's a cheese inside or something, like Käsekreiner. That's what it's called. But here in Japan, they always need to put like basil and lemon and stuff inside, and I don't know why. I feel like, yeah, don't get it, because Japan, if like the kaisoku, kaisoku. Now the Japanese style, traditional Japanese style food, that's always like, it's so refined on a very subtle and specific taste. Like you even taste tofu, right? And why then do you do this to everything that's not Japanese? Why do you need to essentially make it impossible to taste the taste of the real thing because you put all that stuff in there? Yeah. So kind of in that direction. Also, of course, beer. Maybe, I mean actually from Sapporo, and there's the Sapporo, only Sapporo beer, right? Or from Hokkaido, sorry. And yeah, maybe that's okay. And there are some okay beer occasions I had in Japan, but generally, I feel, yeah, especially if you don't make very, in Germany usually we have something called the Reinheitsgebot, which is like the, what's that in, I don't know what that, how to exactly translate. Let me look it up quickly. One second. Purity law. We have that in Germany. In Bavaria, actually, it's not actually a law. Well, I think it never was. More like a strong recommendation or so, to only put like hop, wheat, yeast, water into your beer. That's it. And that's where the general German beer is coming from. And that's not necessarily here the case. There are a lot of craft beers and so on here, and things like IPAs, Indian Pale Ales. And I never had anything. I mean, I tried a couple of them and so on. And at least when I have an evening and try 2 or 3, at least one of them is terrible. I feel maybe that's always the case for craft beer, but I never had craft beer outside of Japan, so I just blame it on Japan now. All right. Yuki Achik says, "Hi Japanese Journey. I watched your Narajuku video. I thought it was really good. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that." Aminok says he had German potato salad with chopsticks at the Sapporo München Festival. Let me just say that it takes forever to eat. I can imagine. I had like pepper potato salad sandwich thing. So in Japan they have this kind of thing where it's like pre-packaged sandwiches, but not sandwiches as in like a triangle or so, but it's closed actually, like a pocket or so of bread, and then they have stuff inside, usually like, I don't know, ham and cheese or something, or tuna and mayo. And in that case they had like potatoes and pepper and maybe bacon or so. That was what I had in that direction. As for festivals, I think I went to something like an Oktoberfest or so only once. Of course, it wasn't October. I mean, anything else would be surprising. And I went to the Christmas market in Yokohama, and there actually I found 2 things. One is the worst schnitzel in my life, and the other is fantastic gingerbread. I think they had imported it actually. Super expensive, like $10 or something. So like a pack of 3 for 3,000 yen, $30. But it was great. It was great. And the next year I went there again and got it. And the year after, the store wasn't there anymore. It was like the big disappointment of this day. There was like, maybe you know, in Yokohama there's the red brick warehouse, Akarenga, and there like essentially 2 of them. And in between there's a big space, and there sometimes they have like an Oktoberfest or Christmas market or things like that. John says, "I've only seen fruit salad sandwiches in Japan with fake cream." Oh yeah, that's another one, another good one. Cake. Lots of cake in Japan is just a couple of fruits with a lot of cream. Whipped cream. Yeah, and for me it's kind of okay if you like that, right? But I feel it's all very similar. So not a wide variety of tastes when it comes to, it's all in a very, like, it's not very sweet. Still, it's kind of too sweet, if that makes sense. And it doesn't have a lot of character for me, if I compare it to German cakes, which again, my wife does not like at all. But I must say though, they look fantastic. So usually, or not usually, but in many cases, they're like their own isolated cake, very like a small, like the size or so, round cake or something. Looks great, no question. And even if it's cut like from a bigger one, fantastic. And the packaging and all that, like Germany, terrible. But here in Japan, they put it in their own box, so definitely it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a rigid structure around the cake, so it doesn't like get like smashed when you take a curve in your car. And they put like cooling stuff in there so that you actually can eat it. It's still kind of okay when you get home and all that. So again, this kind of service and thinking about your customers and so on does not happen outside of Japan. I would say definitely not in the countries I've visited so far, which are mostly in Europe. similar to pita bread, says Aminox. In Japan? Never seen that. I mean, another one would be doner kebab. So that's, I'm not sure though. I would, probably it's adapted to Japanese taste, that's all. But again, so usually in Germany, where it's coming from Berlin, you get like a garlic sauce or something. But in Japan, I think I never found that. And if so, then it was not really, it didn't have this garlic punch that I was longing for. Sometimes the bread is bad and so on. Again, in Roppongi, there's one I like. Would never go there over Savoy, the pizza place. But, you know, you can't have pizza every day. Sometimes you want just a doner kebab. And that's actually not a doner. So doner is when you put the kebab into bread, right? But they had like a menu where you get the kebab and then a soup and bread and salad and stuff. Relatively price worthy, like $12 or so. And a tea, I think, and dessert. That place is also good. Even though that's one of the places where the owner may be like, hey, come in. Friends, come in. That may happen, but still, yeah. So in Roppongi, maybe one day I should give you a video where I do a Roppongi food tour. Like the good places of Roppongi or so. The places you should go to. I mean, for the Americans, maybe, is it American, I guess? There's also Shake Shack. Which in my opinion, mind me, is way better than Freshness Burger. So in Japan, Freshness Burger is pretty popular, I think. Haven't seen it here in this city, but it's quite popular around the Tokyo area. Kanto maybe. But I feel like essentially no sauce, tastes like nothing, I think. Also the patty, no taste in my opinion. All you get is mustard and ketchup, just doesn't cut it for me. So if I really had to go there, I would probably go for chicken something or so, just fries or something. And if I had the choice, then I would go to Shake Shack rather than that. But still, of course, Shake Shack is also not like top of the line food. But it's more, what I like more about Shake Shack is it tastes more beefy, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, so much for food. So not too far from our office was this tonkatsu place that I used to go to, love to go to. And it's apparently, or was at least, very popular with Koreans for some reason. And it's one of the places, most of the shops open at 11:30. Like 11:30 until 2 or so. And this one was one where the people queue up before. And if you're not in the queue, then certainly you don't get in. Immediately. You have to wait outside or so, and then it's raining maybe or so. Nah. So sometimes we would go there, see if we can get in, and if we don't, then we go next door. Excuse me. Where there was, or is, my favorite Skimman place. It's actually a chain. I have seen one more of them in Akihabara, but the one in Roppongi is better. It's a little bit different. Like very thick broth, and especially the chashu, that's the beef, not the beef, the meat, the pork you get with your ramen. Usually it's rather thin, right? Like maybe, I don't know, 4 millimeters or something. But it's very thick, very soft, fantastic. I would like get extra chashu even. And yeah, very thick tsukemen. Tsukemen is where you have the noodles separate and then dip them. I used to not like that originally, but now I prefer it because ramen, you have to eat relatively quickly. I mean, it's fast food, of course, but the noodles go get super soft, right? And I don't like that. I like it al dente with a little bit of, I feel something when I bite them. And that's why I prefer tsukemen now, because separate and you just take it, dip it, and then you have the hopefully strong broth that covers it in a nice taste, and the noodles. And yeah, and you can go slower or faster just as you want. However, I still can't eat that. I always ask for an apron just to make sure. Especially, I did that especially when I went there at lunch, because going to the office and have like your shirt covered in skim and sauce is not the best impression. Aminox says, with the exception of curry dishes, I find it very difficult to get foods with the spice levels I'm used to from home. You probably talk of Koko Ichiban, which is a curry chain. But in Japan, you are meant to taste ingredients, not hide them with spices. Yeah, exactly. Bit of chewiness to the noodle texture. Yeah, probably. I mean, now I have to ask you about English, because texture usually, when I think of texture, I think of the outside, but especially inside. That's what I mean. I think of the outside because I develop games, and when you make a texture for a 3D model, that's on the outside. For your information. But yeah, I like that. I like that. Also, I must say they are really good here at making pasta on point. So most, if not maybe even all of the restaurants where I ordered pasta, always good. Always good. Don't necessarily like what they put on the pasta, the sauce or so, but spaghetti or so, no problem. Fantastic. In Germany, kind of gambling sometimes. Especially if it's not an Italian restaurant or so, like somebody who specifically focuses on that. I see. Insight too in English when discussing food. Thank you. Yeah, so noodles. And this tonkatsu place. So tonkatsu is like essentially schnitzel. Schnitzel in Japanese. I think that's actually where it's coming from. So you have pork usually, and then battered in breadcrumbs and fried. Deep fried in Japan. In Germany, you would put it in the... Is deep fried? Stir fried, I think. In Germany, you would put it in the pan. But yeah, this one is good, and it's different. Usually, it also even looks different. I think that the breadcrumbs they have are different and so on. And overall, it's like on a higher level. Maybe that's why it's so popular. Really nice, really nice. And I forgot the name, otherwise I would share it with you. The texture of steak is the inside, not the surface. I see. Let me think. It was there. One thing when I went to work, I arrived at Roppongi Crossing, went up, and then went to Tokyo Midtown Tower, where my office was. And on the way there, I always passed by a pet shop. And there they only have puppets. Puppets. Do you say no? Puppet is like the doll, right? What do you say to the small dogs and so on? What do you say? What do you say? You see, my English is deteriorating. Puppy, that's the word. Close enough. Maybe. Puppies, yes. Oh, Ninja Monkey, hey. Okay, deep fried then. It was deep fried. Thank you, Aminox. So, puppies. They have puppies, only puppies there. So, small, cute dogs, small, cute cats. And I guess the idea is because a lot of people that have money and so on and maybe want to impress their partner, so you pass by and the partner, oh, they're so cute. And then maybe sugar daddy or so goes inside and buys the dog for $3,000. However, of course, at some point they will not be cute anymore. I don't know what happens to them then. If you know, let me know. Yeah, this may be one of Japan's dark sides, I feel. Ninja Monkey Nathan, I hope you're doing well. You even had a midweek video this time, and I haven't watched it yet, but I will. Essentially, Ninja Monkey Nathan, currently, he is very focused on providing updates on COVID, the COVID situation in Japan, Corona, and I must say, I became lazy and also like fell back to just watching his videos to know what's going on in this country because I don't want to always Google and so on. Just go to his videos. He does all the work for me. I know I can trust this. He's doing it properly and even lists the sources and all that. So I just go there and then I know what's up. 5 people today. It's very intimate around here. Come on to the front there. Yeah, a lot of people do that actually. Yeah, Ninja Monkey. I can imagine. Because it's just convenient, right? We want to know what's going on. When can we come here to Japan again? Travel the country, enjoy. And there we are. My assumption is actually, so I was thinking about visiting Germany, essentially getting my vaccination passport going there, because then I don't have to quarantine in Germany. But if I come back to Japan, I have to. Because they don't accept Japan doesn't accept Japan's vaccine passport. And my thinking is that this may be because then there could be an argument to say, what's the difference between Japan's and America's or so, right? It's both a vaccination passport. So why can't the other people come here? But if they do that, of course, they would be tested and vaccinated, so probably risk is low, but they travel more, so they would take it potentially, even if not feeling the symptoms, from Tokyo to Aomori or elsewhere, right? So I guess that's where this thinking is coming from. And that's why I still have to quarantine when I'm coming back to Japan from elsewhere. Maybe it's not true. John says, been outside planting trees today, so I'm pretty tired. Good night all. Nice. I like gardening. Good night, John. Eminok says, honestly, I don't believe tourism to Japan to start until mid-2022 at earliest. Yeah. Yeah, currently especially, this wave is so big compared to the previous ones. It's a hard one. Ninja Monkey agrees to the... Oh, this light went off. No more battery. No. Ninja Monkey agrees to the quarantine and passport. Yeah. I mean, of course, also as a tourist, if you have to quarantine for 2 weeks when coming here, and then you need like a 2-month holiday essentially that is worth it. So it doesn't really make sense. But of course, for business travels and so on, it would be very helpful because right now Japan hands out this passport specifically for this business travel use case, but of course, like then they come back and need to quarantine here for 2 weeks, but that doesn't help. And yeah, certainly tourism will be one of the last things. I mean, certainly countries suffering. Today when we went on the mountain, it's one of these areas. So usually mountain area in Nagano, they had this like, let's just build massive concrete buildings here on the mountain and like tourist systems and ski and whatnot and so on. And now half of that is closed, at least during the summer, or just like abandoned. And this is one of the areas that still has people coming there and still kind of survives right now. A little bit run down, but still okay. That's one of the few, I would say, even here in this area. But certainly they are also suffering because, of course, also Japanese don't travel a lot. Also, we didn't. Like usually, many people take summer holiday around this time of the year and then go somewhere. And there's also Obon, so you go usually home to your family or so. I mean, we also didn't go anywhere. I didn't take holiday. So certainly, financially, the country is suffering. Shops and stores are closing. Yeah. But still, of course, I mean, you need to get it under control, and it's a worldwide thing. So Japan having nice vaccination levels and so on doesn't help if then a lot of tourists don't, obviously. The Olympics are over, so the motivation to complete national vaccinations is gone. Maybe, yeah. But it's still kind of, the how it proceeds is kind of okay. And I heard if you would make a reservation now, you would be vaccinated. When was that? End of September. So that means there's still demand, people. But maybe there's no supply, I'm not sure. Ninja Monkey says, however, also from experience, I know that things can change in a matter of weeks. Only 4 or 5 weeks can make a difference from experience here in Europe. Yeah, certainly, totally. The only way for tourism to start again is for the other countries to eradicate COVID and thus be removed from the denial of entry list. Yeah, but that, I mean, realistically, that's still gonna take a while, especially like the third world countries and so on, who have like vaccination levels of 2% or something. By the way, I'm doing intermittent fasting right now, so I'm not snacking during the live stream. just water. Yeah. COVID, not fun at all. I mean, for us, thankfully, in this situation, it's kind of okay. Of course, we would like to. We would have loved to go somewhere now. If we can't go to Germany, then at least like travel inside of Japan, maybe. Or even my wife has never been to Okinawa, so we would like to go there, and all that. And yeah, it's very unfortunate. And of course, my big love, Aikido. It's also very handicapped by that. Have you fixed the animations yet? No. I thought I should do it while I did the intro thing, this one here, while I was essentially having you wait, but I didn't. I just got water and then started. Kyoto has especially suffered financially, actually. Yeah, exactly. Like I have a friend in Kyoto, another German YouTuber, and he also, like, even in the popular areas and so on, there's like all the shops are closing and so on. And also, so I went to Kyoto only twice. Once in 2016, just in time for Gion Matsuri. So like I think the biggest festival in Japan or so, or at least the oldest or something like that. So very popular festival in Kyoto. So many people. Gion district, always full, of course. That's where we stayed actually. And then this year, August, again, preparations for this festival ongoing. Almost nobody. And also, because of state of emergency, they close at like 7 or 8 p.m. Yeah. Explain the fasting and why. That's like, essentially you eat only for 8 hours a day. No breakfast, essentially. That's it. And also that means, like, for in my case, I try to do from 12 to 8. So from noon to 8 p.m. That's the window I eat. So I have lunch, maybe a couple of snacks in between, and dinner, maybe a bigger dinner, and then again next day. And yeah, you know, too much, not as ripped as I used to be a couple of years ago. So that's why. Yeah, and it's kind of, for me, it's kind of easy to not eat. Otherwise, though, probably I would have breakfast, whatever, and then a snack in between or so, and that just, that accumulates, and then, yeah, you're in a calorie surplus. You say surplus? So, yeah, you eat too much. New motivation, no donation until update completed. Ha! I mean, I could try now, but no. Yeah, I mean, I try again to fix it. Essentially, last time I think I tried to remove it and add it again, so now it will just completely make a new animation and do that, and then hopefully it works. I mean, but I mean, also in the meantime, you can just use the live stream donation, YouTube style. Then I don't get as much, but it works. You have a nice animation. Fun to see you thinking. You mix German, Japanese, and English filler words. I see. Didn't know. It was very, very possible. Very possible. Yeah, sometimes also, even if I'm talking like and German words jumps in. It's like, no, wait, no. The other person didn't understand that. Let's say it again. And especially then if like I talk to other Germans at the workplace and then go somewhere else, or even if they're around and so on, then it's completely confusing. Best is like an English speaking German and the Japanese or so. I paid to you, not Apple and YouTube. Okay, I see. Thanks a lot. Where's that? 613 right now. Not bad. I mean, essentially, we could already get the drone with that, I think, but not the... So just the drone, not the extra batteries and so on. And yeah. So essentially how I'm handling, how I'm thinking about it right now is, so this right here is only filled by donations on Tipeee, so not by YouTube Live, Super Chat and so on. But this one does not deduct fees. So Tipeee also has fees, so just as YouTube does. So I look at it as the Tipeee is essentially filling up this bar, and the YouTube super chats are paying the fees for Tipeee, essentially, so that this bar is more or less correct, if that made sense. Not the Fly More package. Yeah, the Fly More package, which has a couple of more batteries, like 3, I think, instead of 1. And I don't need an SD card. I have enough. So this drone, the DJI Mavic Mini, is called Mavic Mini. I think they changed the name a bit, but like Mavic Mini 2 has small batteries in Japan, so that it fits on the 200 gram is like, from 200 gram it's a drone, below that it's a toy. So they made it 199 and they cut this off at the battery, so it flies for like 10 minutes, which may be sufficient. Allows me to fly in like this area here, where it's a city and not actually loud. Not that I would intend to do that, but maybe I need to at some, who knows. But I also want to get the bigger battery, which also fits into that model. So then it would be 249 grams. I couldn't fly it here, but I could fly longer. And the things I intend to use it for is like mountains and so on, and that's okay. So there's certain, you have like a map, you can check that online, where you see like here it's red, that means don't fly here, essentially. Then there are a couple of other rules, like 30 meters away from humans and stuff. All right, am I reading Japanese drone rules correctly, that rules apply to vehicles over 200 grams, but there are no rules for drones under 200 grams? Yes, exactly. That's the point about being lower than 200 grams. I mean, there's some rules that still apply. But yeah, many rules don't. And still like, I mean, if you fly the drone above Shibuya crossing or so, police will come, even if it's allowed. And they still, you know, can lock you up for like 2 days or something without reason. So I mean, if you do that in like a crowded area and it's not allowed actually, or even they have signs no drones or something, just because technically it's not a drone, it's still like an invitation for trouble. So that's not my plan. Let's put it that way. Airport and military installations are still no-go, I assume. I also assume, but I forgot. I don't know about like alcohol and so on. Maybe you can fly if you're drunk. Also, drones you're not allowed to fly at night and all that. You can get permission also for flying close to an airport and in the city and so on. Take some time, paperwork. Actually, Paolo from Tokyo did a video on that 2-3 years ago. The process, like getting that's long, too long for my taste. Just book a helicopter, that's all. And do it like the pros. Still probably, I don't know if there are limits to height and so on, probably. Oh, somebody donated. There you saw, it's still broken animation. Dylan, thanks a lot, has donated $20, helping support the dream of getting that drone off the ground. Can't wait to see the content. Thanks a lot. Yeah, actually, we have a drone lying around here, kindly lent to me by one of our viewers here, and until the goal is reached, but I haven't used it yet. I haven't used it. Didn't went out to shoot a video since he sent it here. Yeah. You cannot fly drones while drunk. There was a guy arrested for it. Yes, you can't, but you know, if it's not a drone, if it's less than 200 grams, maybe. Not sure. Dylan had to test that animation. Great test, very successful. You saw it's like, I don't know what's wrong. It looks perfect to me. Yes, a very curious case with this animation. That's only broken from Tippy, but not from YouTube. Yeah. By the way, okay, let me ask you, all the 7 of you, do you have any Japanese type company or so that you like? So, for example, what I mean is, so there are like some subscription services that send you stuff from Japan or so, or maybe if you want, or when I was living in Germany, I would have liked to be able to get some Japanese style stuff, you know? Ideally something that's more expensive, like shoji doors or so, or like wardrobes, like the sliding doors, or tatami mats and so on. Do you have anything, or if you're interested in that, do you have any place where you actually can get that and where you are? Aminox says we can't post links. I think you could if you were a moderator. But I don't know if you want to be that. So we don't have moderators yet because I mean I'm capable of handling those 6 people. Dylan says, I'm not as familiar with any of those. I've gone through other YouTube patrons and had things sent. Ah, I see. Like, I think, who does that? John Daub, maybe? From Only in Japan or so. It's true. Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, there are the snack services and so on. Like John, who does like smaller things. Then other patrons, I know Life Where I'm From, Greg does the Postcard Club, which John also does, and so on. Minox says he may not be the target audience for this question as he's in Japan. I know. I remember. Yes. But still, maybe before you move to Japan, you know? I mean, so in Germany we have like room separators. You can also buy them in Japan, essentially, like and they have this kind of shoji style. And then I just took a room separator and made a wardrobe. So I had like a little small, like a wall and then a little space there, and I essentially put this in front, made them two parts of them the door, and then still was a little left for the top, also made a door out of that. So I did myself. Was obviously not the real deal because it's not the same spacing and so on as would be on a real shoji door, but pretty cheap because a room separator. I think this was a present even. And yeah, that's cheap. Well, I don't know, $20, $30. But of course, like the real thing and very nice and so on. You can get this more or less handmade in Germany, but it's extraordinarily expensive. I also got tatami mats actually back then on eBay. eBay Kleinanzeigen. Do you have that? What is Kleinanzeigen in English? Like Craigslist essentially, but from eBay. And there I got like maybe for $400. Was it less? Was it 200? I totally don't remember. But we had like maybe like 5-6 square meters or so. So good size for that price, I think. And now here, even here, we don't have real tatami. We have something that looks like tatami a little bit on the outside, but on the inside it's not. So tatami, you have like this rice straw or something on the inside, but this is like gum or something like that. Only the outside is like tatami, and it's yeah, it's breaking. It's like not very sturdy material. And for Aikido, we don't have real tatami, but like the, you know, like judo mats. Okay, so we are at, let's say we do 10 more minutes for today. And then I try to still do a couple of translations for Patreon. Wait a second. Oh. I never realized I can actually make a poll here. I mean, I don't know what I would poll you, but it's there. But I'm considering I would like to, I think I need to improve my my thumbnail and title game to make more people essentially click on the video, you know, because obviously your video can be as good as it wants to be. It can be perfect. If nobody clicks it and sees it, nothing's gonna improve. So I'm trying to do that even more. So maybe you remember I made a video once about the process of my video, or where I mentioned it. And one of them is thinking out the thumbnail essentially before the video starts. Doesn't always work like that. But yeah, it's a very important task, of course. Like, do essentially two important things. One is make something that like raises anticipation, makes the audience want to click, makes the audience want to find out what is behind the thumbnail and the title. Maybe a question they want to have answered or so. And two is deliver on that. So that's like two sides of the medal, of the coin. Both very important, equally important maybe. So I guess video kind of okay. They're worse than me that have more views. And yeah, this part certainly needs some work. Paul, what do you think of Japanese Journey? 1, the best. 2, amazing. 3, superior. Yes. It's a difficult one. 4, all of the above. Thumbnails and titles are an art form in itself. Seems the simpler titles draw people in more. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. What I like is the things like maybe there's a channel called from a guy called Tom Scott. He does it well, I think. He does like, for example, one is how a small ship and I stopped London's traffic for 2 hours or something in that direction. And that's like, interesting. How? Why? Right? That's something I want an answer for. And now compare this to I opened London Bridge. Right? Because that's what he did. London Bridge usually is London Bridge, Tower Bridge. It's like can be opened, often it's closed. And he was allowed to like press the button, essentially talk to people there. So obviously the first one, or at least for me it's obvious, the first one is that's what gets clicks, that's what I want to see. And the other one's like, okay. And I'm sure would get like 10% of that. So yeah, certainly it's super important. So yeah, that's that. Super important. And for him, I feel the thumbnail is not necessarily always the thing, because the titles are so good what he does. Thumbnail is like secondary for him. But of course, really, what seems to work if you have a lot of stuff in a thumbnail, like Mr. Beast that like, I filled my friend's garden with 1,000 Orbeez. No, 1,000,000 Orbeez. And then he photoshopped himself like as if it was like drowning in Orbeez or so. This was not what it looked like, but they filled it. So there's like a lot of things in there, or something that's astonishingly out of proportion, like super big or so, and wow, that's dangerous. So that seems also to like drive people in. I mean, I also would like to know what's going on, right? But yeah, that's some direction I would like to. That's why I also said in the beginning, like when I worked on the video, I said the place that made me love Japan, because I feel like that's a better title than saying my favorite ryokan in Japan. Because I mean, if you read that as somebody that's never been here, so, or is not really into Japan and so on, you may not even know what that means. You don't know what a ryokan is, maybe, or you may not just not be interested. But if you have any idea of coming to Japan, or a plan of coming to Japan at one point, then that may be interesting, because of course you want, or at least that's my thought process, at least you would like to go to that place maybe as well and find out. I'm still not sure if I will go with that title or not. Yeah. Wait a second. Tom Scott. And he also often has like and. So the title was How One Little Boat and Me, in braces, held up miles of London traffic at Tower Bridge. Oh, he even mentioned Tower Bridge for search. And his videos, of course, accordingly get views like that. He's like usually above 1 million. Sometimes 2, 3. Things like landing at the only airport that's also a public beach. Maybe that's not even a good one. England's oldest attraction turns teddy bears to stone. You know, making something... Yeah, I'm not very good at this. I need to work on it. That's what I want to say. The difficulty is making honest clickbait, meaning satisfying viewers by over-delivering on the bait. Yes, like, or at least delivering. I don't know, over... I mean, like, satisfying viewers. I think that's important. Like, when you leave the video then and you think like, huh, that was worth my time. Or that made me feel good, or something like that. That's great. Answering the question and delivering on the premise of the subject of the video. Yeah. Yeah, and especially now, for example, for this video, Ryokan, which is already shot, and I did not have I thought about what could be a good thumbnail and so on, and title before that, but I didn't come up with something. So essentially now I need to make it fit in hindsight. That's even harder. So essentially coming up with a title something I want to cover, and then finding how I can cover it. That's easier. I feel like, I mean, to deliver on the bait. My unlicensed hovercraft bar is technically legal. Yeah. It's a little off topic, says Jasiwadas. Is it possible to get a part-time job in IT while being at language school for a year? In Germany, it is common. In Japan, it's mostly working in a restaurant, etc. as part-timer. Ah, that's a good question. I mean, technically, yes, from the visa status and so on. So you can, as you probably did your research already, you can get a special permit to allow you to work for up to 28 hours per week while you're studying, and full-time during holidays, university holidays, or school holidays. Yes, exactly, 28 hours. So, but yeah, good question. I think it's possible. It's not impossible. But I don't know I mean, we don't have it in our company, so I don't know how common it is in others. Probably I know at least one company where there was like an intern or something. So yeah, probably it's possible. I don't know how possible, how probable, how high the probability is. Look into how Mark Rober does the titles, thumbnails, and structures videos. Yeah, he's also great. Mark. And of course, Mr. Beast is like the king when it comes to that. Obviously, he gets most views by far, even more than Mark Rober, like twice as many or so. Shark versus GoPro. And who also? Veritasium, that's also good, I think. And he even his last video was about clickbait, and now all the YouTubers like my size or so start talking about clickbait again. But clearly, I mean, YouTube do you have analytics, and you see how many people actually click, how many people see the thing and click. It's kind of diluted because it doesn't separate between what's from recommendations, what from subscribers and so on, because of course subscribers click more. But still, if you then have a number, it's like 3% or so. Yeah. If you have a number that's 6 or 7, That's much better. And if you can go to 10 or so, yeah, click-through rate, yes, then that's outstanding. I think I have only one video that has had 19%. That was amazing. And also accordingly, it got 100,000 views in a day. Could you ask Japanese friends or co-workers if it is not rude? We could talk next stream about it. It would be really a great insight since it's hard to find information on that. Yes, if I can, if I remember. If I remember. Fragen kostet nichts. Exactly. Yeah, click-through rate. So, for example, it's also what do people want, right? For example, earlier this year, I made a video, Day in My Life as a Software Engineer in Japan, which has 6.9% or so. It's for this channel, it's pretty good. But that's also because a lot of the traffic comes from search. So a lot of people already search Day in the Life of a Software Engineer or something like that. And then, of course, if they already know they want to, or Software Engineer Japan or something like that, so they already specifically look for that. It's not recommended to them or shown by chance, so to say. But they look for that and then they click. Because, they say me, they see my keyboard, they say Software Engineer, Day in the Life. People want to see that. So that works. But then again, for Nadai, not so much. So I'm wondering how I should change it. Not sure though. Past 11 p.m. Gotta get ready for bed. Busy day tomorrow. Exactly. Same for me. I need to build what was that sandbox thing. So also gonna close it here. Thank you so much for your time today. Jasivadas, if I remember on Monday, I will ask. Maybe you can remind me somewhere. I don't know. Yeah. All right. Then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time tonight. And see you again probably next week. I think at the usual time then, which is 9 p.m. Japanese time. Which again is 2 p.m. in Central Europe. All right. Thank you all. Thank you for watching.